I want to bring to a stage someone who not only has a platform, but is using it to show solidarity with the Palestinian people, come what may. I want to bring to the stage Susan Sarandon!
Napoleon said, war is when the government tells you who your enemy is. Revolution is when you figure it out for yourself. We know who our enemy is. Our enemy is hate.
Come on now.
Our enemy is racism.
Yeah.
Our enemy is colonization.
Yeah.
Our enemy is greed.
Come on.
And our enemy is silence.
Exactly. Exactly.
The silence of those who look away when you see crushed children, starving babies, wailing mothers, fathers digging through the rubble to try to find their families. This is unacceptable. Now, disrupting the narrative of the powerful, fighting for justice can be lonely work. It can be exhausting, but nothing compared to what is happening in Gaza, in Rafah, for the Palestinian people that have been going through this for 75 years. Speaking inconvenient truths can lose you your livelihood. It can lose you friends. It may lose you family. But I want you to look out now at the sea of umbrellas and people here.
All right.
Because we are your family. You are not alone. As he said, there are hundreds more across Manhattan, hundreds of thousands across the United States, millions globally who are standing for Palestine, for justice, for a ceasefire. Millions of people who will keep showing up, who will keep organizing, who will keep speaking out, who will be loud. And we must embrace each other and thank each other and encourage other people to be brave and come out for what will ultimately be proven to be on the right side of history. No one is free until all of us are free.
My name is Alexei. I'm with an independent queer media called Sidewalkilla, and I just wanted to ask you a question, if it's okay. Why do you think other celebrities don't utilize their platform to speak up on what's happening in Palestine?
Because you're a pariah if you speak out. And you know, my agents, Nancy Gates and Shani Rosenzweig, fired me, dropped me after 10 years of being with the agency. And I think it's quite clear that there are big repercussions if you do speak out. It's very clear. I've been used as an example, and I know because other people tell me that their management has gone to them and said, you don't want to end up like Susan Sarandon. So of course it's a very, very difficult thing.
How did it feel for you? I believe you had a lot of trust with your agents to just be drop after being with them for 10 years?
It was shocking. It was shocking.
You are complicit in genocide. And we will
I've obviously been following you for a while. You have a quite large following on Instagram. You speak up on a lot of unfair things that happen in the world. Where did you start finding that voice to do that?
I mean, I was born black and I was also born gay, and people would think, you know, those are two things to hate and two things to always advocate against, especially in our society. But for me, I just think that it's a strength and it's a power. And it's funny because I had this question similarly like not so long ago. But I think that activism found me more than I found it. And I chose to answer that call with intention and with purpose.
You have been a voice for a lot of people that didn't have a voice. And why is it important for you to be that voice?
I would want someone to be on the streets for me if I was killed because of my truth. And I think that we should not wait for someone that we know to be killed for their truth to speak up for truth. I think it's actually a disservice to humanity to wait for tragedy that happened to you to speak out on tragedy.
Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine.
Qween, so can you tell me what brings you out on your crew here today?
I'm here today with my family and my comrades. We are here in solidarity for Palestine. And the reason why we're here is because it's now over 5 months and we have seen little to any interest in the American leaders calling an end to this genocide, calling an end to the occupation. And so as a community, we will show them our power, we'll show them our strength, and that's why we're here, to be a fist in this fight, most importantly to continue to advocate that humanity must include all people, Palestinian, African, literally all of our folks across the entire diasporic areas. You know, we are united, and the atrocities that we've seen are unimaginable, but they're happening, and therefore we have to stand up and fight back. The only fear that we have is something that they teach us, that they put in us. We have no fear. We're outside in this rain, and we will be out here until there's freedom, until there's a ceasefire, until people in Palestine can live freely.
When did your activism journey start, and why is it important for you to continue it?
I'll be honest, my activism journey started the first time someone called me the N-word. You know, the first time someone called me the F-word. So for me, I've been acutely aware of where my humanity rests in this greater society, and that because of whatever people deem as inferior, what they think is not power, I know is my power. My strength, my skin color, the fire in my heart, my queer identity, my trans identity. We as like black people, black trans people, we've always had to be resilient. We've always had to be hopeful. We've always had to lean on each other in order to survive. And so for us, this is actually, it's not even a question. It's what we have to do.
Do you think that more people should use their platform to speak up?
Honest, I think people will do what they need to do. But what I will say is if you're silent during genocide, right, then you will be held accountable. Period. You know, if we keep justifying or making excuses, because we made excuses, it's now 5 months. Because they made excuses, it's now over 33,000 innocent people killed. So there's no more time for excuses. You either say no to genocide or you are going to be held accountable for genocide. Period.
Can you please tell me what brings you out here today?
liberation of Palestine. Yeah, especially as a queer Korean person, I think we need to be having solidarity across our movement to show that none of us are free until all of us are free, including the people in Gaza and Palestine. And the fact that the U.S. has a huge part in funding this genocide, we have an obligation as American citizens to show that we're not complicit in this genocide.
I think there is a really famous quote. I can't really quote it word to word, but it said something like, first they came for their neighbors, and then you didn't say anything, and then they came. Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like the sentiment?
Definitely. I think this is a moment where we really have to all collectively and individually reassess how we have been living our lives comfortably and how things need to change. We need to have this moment wake us up to show us that we can't continue living this comfortable way that we think life should be, because there are people that don't have that same human right. It's not a privilege, it's a human right. People that are afraid to speak up, people that are afraid to process this moment, to feel this, I think this is a real reckoning and awakening for people to wake up and to be alive and understand that we can't have such an individualistic experience. We have to help each other out. Otherwise, our lives we're just gonna be completely without community. And they're gonna come for Palestine. They're gonna come for you next. Seeing this unfold by the hour, first person account in the way that we were not able to see other genocides and massacres that are happening in the past. And I think with social media, with the digitalization and this archive, there's no way to deny this. People that are so scared to even approach this, to watch a video, to read a post, I think there's a whole level of dehumanization, desensitization that this moment is calling for us to wake up to. So I think people that are just scrolling on their phone, ignoring the posts that have been circulating online on Instagram, I think it's really sad, but I think people that are showed up today in this reign are showing that we're not going to be complicit, we're not going to ignore it, we're not going to neglect our humanity. I think there's a soul loss happening right now that we all really need to reckon with and help each other out and have a little bit of grace, but show that we're angry. This is important to us. We literally can't live like this anymore.
So what brings you out here today on this rainy day?
As a Jordanian lesbian, it's important to me to just be out in general to support the causes. Because for me, as someone who grew up in the U.S. and Texas, I saw how it was to be Arab, how it was to be queer, how it was to be both of those things at the same time, and other layers of other stuff. And it's just Palestinian liberation is liberation for everyone, but it's also liberation for all of the Arab people and for all of queer people. And it feels really important for me to just at least physically be here, because it's all I can really do, besides spreading information online, which is something I'm also doing. But it's important to just be out.
What constitutes genocide? And why is this considered to be a genocide?
Well, there's a lot of things. Even just in the word definition of genocide, it's very hand in hand with ethnic cleansing. It's very hand in hand with just trying to rid of a people, which is something that they've been doing for a really long time in Gaza, in the West Bank, and all of Palestine, which is why so much of it is Israel now, because they've done it a million times. It's what they did in Sinai in Egypt. It's what they've done in the Golan Heights in Syria. Across the board, a genocide really just, it comes down to the intent, and you can see in the actions that they take, where it's the way that they move, the way that they do things. Whenever they are making moves to get Hamas, they're taking, it's really just who counts as Hamas? It's everyone in Palestine, you know what I mean? Or Arabs as a people. And so you can see the way that they act when they're talking about, we need to get Hamas, we need to clear the land, we need to push them out, why aren't the other countries taking them? And then all of the actual intense violent act that is doing nothing to attack the tunnels or the Hamas targets. It's just, you can tell that it's very much about the people, and the way that they talk about the people, the absolute disgust they talk about Palestinians with, you can see it in everything. I think in a lot of ways the hostages, again, and the hostages should be freed and everything, but again, so should the Palestinian political prisoners. I don't think it was ever about that. It was an excuse for them to really go all in with it and do what they've been planning to do to get rid of Gaza for the whole time, right? But the way that they've been doing everything in Palestine since 1948 and before, it's been blackmailing Palestinians to get the land. It's been killing Palestinians in really intense ways. It's been fighting with Jordan and Syria and Egypt and all the countries around it and Lebanon to get Palestinians out of the land. It's been violence in the West Bank, in Sheikh Jarrah, like we've seen it everywhere. And it's like, it's been going on for so long, so violently and so clearly, whereas it just feels like now they have a reason to do more of it. It doesn't feel like it's about anything else.
Why do you think U.S. is on the Israel side in the way of not, helping the ceasefire just to start?
I think the U.S. benefits a lot from hurting the Middle East in general. It's something we've seen in the past in Iraq. It's something we've seen in Syria. They have a hand in a lot of the things that have happened to us in general. And so I think they've said, and if Joe Biden said himself 1,000 times that if there wasn't an Israel, he would have created one, because they have to have some kind of ally base in the Middle East. And so it feels like that's what they're doing, to the point where they're supporting, it's their military outpost instead of supporting anyone else. And then it also helps them because they don't look anti-Semitic. But I think it's just really it's an ally that helps them have an in on our region, so they can do whatever they want to us and get our resources and everything they're looking for. As an Arab, I've always kind of felt like anyone I vote for, no matter how liberal or whatever, doesn't really care about me as an Arab, because I don't really care if you're flying a pride flag if you still think that my people should be dead. You know what I mean? And that's what it feels like a lot of the time. So it's weird, especially in this intersection of queerness and Arab identity, to feel which direction to go. I feel like I've lost a lot of touch with the white queer community, because I feel like they don't really care about the Arabs, and it's been really weird. And I don't know, politics and voting and stuff have been a really weird place right now. I know I'm not voting for Biden. I know I'm not voting for Trump. So trying to find a middle option and someone who cares about Arabs and queer people is a hard thing to do. But I don't know, I think it's important to figure out someone that'll represent both things, because I'm at the point now where I don't want to just vote for the better of two evils if they both want my region gone. You know what I mean? I'm Arab before I'm queer.
What are you holding in your hand?
This is actually a display of the babies being slaughtered. I mean, we're on day, I think, about 148. There's over 40,000 lives being slaughtered, 2/3 of them children, and the world just can't seem to do the right thing about it, the worldly powers. So that's why we're here. We're here to wake them up. If it's not enough seeing it on Instagram, maybe a little display like this can open the hearts of others to see that we need to do something.
I think people do see that on Instagram, right? We do see pictures of kids, covered in blood, and I feel like a lot of people just getting maybe desensitized to that.
I 100% agree with you. That's why I think it's so important for us to bring displays like this to life. We get so desensitized with our TV, with our radios, with pictures coming up on Instagram. People are claiming that it's doctored, but once you see something, you can't unsee it. So that's my goal with this today. You can't unsee it once you see it. I'm actually from Pakistan originally. My parents are. I was born in the Middle East myself, but raised over here. I work with a lot of Palestinians myself, and the sad reality is that there's not a single Palestinian that hasn't lost somebody close to them to violence. Not a single one. And I'm not talking you lose grandparents to old age or something like that. It's usually to violence, not a single one. So we need to all wake up and do something about this. That's not normal. It's been happening since 1948. What's happening now, it's just on a deeper scale of what's been going on for years. They just woke us all up to move this time.
What do you think we as people can actually do to, implement some kind of change? We people have been going outside and showing up and protesting for, as long as this has been happening, right? But we see very little response from our government. What's next? And
I'm going to tell you first, keep the faith, because since this has been happening since 1948, the fact that every one of these people around here, we knew people that were going to movements before. There was 30, 40 people. Look around you. Look how many people there are. Okay, so the movement is growing. So what we can't do is we can't stop, and we just keep going. I'm learning along with everybody else. But what we're not going to do is stop. We're not going to slow down. We're going to be unrelenting. We're going to be fearless in the pursuit of what is good and just in this world. And we're going to do it to please the one who made us. This is his creation that they're oppressing. So if that doesn't move you, do it for the fear of God. That you will be standing in front of him one day, and you're going to be answering to him about what you did when when these people were being slaughtered around the world.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
So you are a famous actor with a large following, and you've never really been afraid to speak up. Where do you get that strength? Where do you get that desire to use your platform and not be afraid to use it?
My experience being a trans person makes it really easy and very simple to understand that it's my responsibility to stand up for other people who are being hurt and harmed for who they are. It's very simple. You know, if you don't see yourself in the people, then you're never going to be able to see yourself or the people. And you will never know what you do. So yeah, that's why it's important for me. That's why it's so easy, and that's why it makes sense. I experienced it as a trans person, and nobody should ever. And our movements are linked. You know, we're both fighting powers that are seeking the rights to destroy us and erase us. So it makes sense. I do think that people with large platforms should speak more because they are present to collect monies and attention and whatever it is that benefits them from all of these people all over the world. They are open and willing to receive the money and attention and resources from people who love their work. And yet, these same people who benefit from the love and attention of the people who love their work, these people are not standing up for those. They're not standing up for the collective struggles of all those people who may actually love them. When you're an artist that people all over the world love for your work, that your life and your experience and your lifestyle is because of the love and attention you receive from these people. If you don't love them back, then what are you doing? What's the point? So I think that's why they should speak up. I mean, if you are afraid of the freedom pains that will come from your departure from oppressive systems and ideas and thinking and people, if you are afraid of the pain and the grief that will come with that, lean on queer and trans people who deal with that every day, who survive that every day, who stand in solidarity with themselves and their truth, and as a result are put out of their homes and are ostracized by the world because they choose to be in solidarity with themselves. Lean on those people. If you stand in solidarity with yourself and the trueness of yourself, you are standing in solidarity with the people and the trueness of those people, and vice versa. None of these people are looking at these videos and enjoying them. They're swiping away. And every time you turn away from someone who is hungry, every time you turn away from someone who is begging for your help, every time you turn away from the people who are less fortunate, who are asking for your assistance, who are asking for your care and attention, you lose pieces of yourself. Because again, we are the people. We are part of each other. When there's no way to continue to talk about why it's important to care about families and children and people. We're hitting a wall. Thank you.
So good to see you.
Do you want to walk and talk? Would that be feasible? Okay, let's do it. I think most urgently we need a ceasefire, a permanent and immediate ceasefire. That's the most urgent thing because we are over 100, what are we at, 150? Happy? 150 days?
150 days. 148. 147.
So that's how many days of non-stop genocide, non-stop bombardment, starvation. Over 500,000 people right now. Babies are dying. Like it's been 5 months of this. So right now, that's the most immediate thing we need. And then of course, what we need after that is Palestinian liberation from the river to the sea. Because so long as there's Zionism, so long as there's Israel, there will always be the death, destruction, and displacement of the Palestinian people. That's just the reality. So we need a free Palestine. And to the genocide, we need a free Palestine. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Really, the biggest one at this point is going to be financial interests. They make a lot of money off of bombs, off of selling bombs to Israel. And of course, you know, the geopolitical control of the region, all of that. But at the end of the day, it's a colonizer enterprise, and the United States is known for that. The United States is a colonizer enterprise, so there's a lot of similar interests between the United States and Israel in terms of being settler colonizers.
But do you think realistically something that can change?
Yeah, we're doing it. Us being in the streets, people calling their reps, people emailing their reps, that's a small part of it. But really everything everybody is doing is that. The ideological battle has been won. It's clear. Israel's lies, the United States lies are clear more than ever, more than they've ever been before. And that's because of everybody's steadfastness in delivering the news, delivering the information, making sure the world knows loud and clear what's happening, why it's happening. So it's really a culmination of everybody's efforts. Palestinians have been doing this for over 7 decades, and the world has actually always been with us. But now with us taking control of the information, taking control of the ideological imbalance that we've been at the effect of, that has also played a huge role in that, because Zionism has succeeded in the past via propaganda, or flopaganda as I like to call it. But so therefore, in order to dismantle it, a lot of that is ideological. So it's really a culmination of a lot of these things happening at once. And then of course the intersectionality, bringing queer liberation into it, bringing black liberation, indigenous liberation, to show everybody that if we can dismantle one system, we can bring them all down together with it. You can't build a homeland on the premise of a religious text while ethnic cleansing and genociding another people. So really the whole thing is flawed in of itself. There can't be a safe homeland for anybody on top of the genocide and ethnic cleansing of another people. And you know, we resist Zionism because it can't exist without the death, destruction, and displacement of the Palestinian people.
So do you think it's never been about the hostage?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's about the fact that Palestinians have been genocide and ethnic cleansed for over 75 years now, and Palestinians rising up and saying, no, we're going to take it all back, actually, and Israel had plans to genocide and ethnic cleanse Palestinians. This was written into the doctrine of Zionism when it was created, and Palestinians have a right to resist that, and the people of the world stand united in that mission.
Are you a voter yourself?
I won't be voting this election.
Why? Because you don't feel like there's enough adequate choice?
Definitely no. No adequate choices. Absolutely not. The guy who's president is genociding my people. The other guy is, you know, the fucking transphobe, so I will take no part in that. I find that instead, I'd rather put my efforts into building communities, finding ways to allocate resources into my people, however I can do that. This is about the people. It's about the people taking back our right to live. It's about the people taking back our right to have housing, our right to have food, our right to, you know, see justice in all forms. And Palestinians are leading the charge in that right now, in this urgent moment in the world. The Palestinians in Gaza, you know, they're the ones who are the most affected by Zionism, as we're witnessing today. Over 30,000 Palestinians killed. That's a lot of fucking people. I would imagine there's more than that here today. So even just looking at today's crowd and imagining all these people gone is enough to shine some light on what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think in our lifetime we will see the change that we're seeking?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I think it's inevitable. We're watching it happen. The empire's crumbling, and we're all doing our part in making it happen. So, absolutely, I believe so. I do.
From the sea to the river, Palestine will live forever. From the sea to the river,
Resistance will live forever.